Hello, it's time for the news bulletin here on Luntha television. My name is Brennan Manza, but first the headlines. Pope Francis instructs Vatican entities to move all funds to Vatican Bank by September 30th. Government warns citizens against taking law into their hands over the location of refugees. JICA-funded project making positive strides in reducing non-revenue water. And in sports news, Malawi launches the 100 days countdown of hosting Region 5 Youth Games. We have these and many other stories. Stay there. Pope Francis has ordered that the Holy See and connected entities should within 30 days move all financial assets to the Institute for Works of Religion, IOR, commonly known as the Vatican Bank. The Pope's rescript issued yesterday clarifies the interpretation of a paragraph in the new constitution of the Roman Curia promulgated in March. We have a Catholic News Agency report.
The IOR, based in Vatican City State, has 110 employees and 14,519 clients. As of 2021, it looked after 5.2 billion euros, which is $5.6 billion of client assets. Though commonly called a bank, the IOR is technically a financial institute with more branches working within Vatican City State to provide services to clients, which include the Holy See and connected entities, religious orders, clergy, Catholic institutions, and Holy See employees. The IOR saw its number of clients decline by 472 from 14,991 clients at the end of 2020 to 14,519 in 2021. Nearly half of its clients in 2019 were religious orders. According to its annual report, the financial institution's $19 million net profit in 2021 was also down from $44 million in 2020 and $46 million in 2019. In his August 23rd rescript, Pope Francis said Article 219, paragraph 3 of the Predicate Evangelium must be interpreted to mean that the activity of asset manager and custodian of the movable patrimony of the Holy See and of the institutions connected with the Holy See is the exclusive responsibility of the Institute for Works of Religion. The decree will force Holy See institutions, including the Secretariat of State, to move their financial assets to the IOR by the end of September. The Secretariat of State is known to have had accounts in Swiss financial institutions, including Credit Suisse, through which the controversial London building investment was initially carried out.
That was Jacqueline Saidi with a Catholic, Tandiwe Mzumara with a Catholic News Agency report. Delegates of the 6th Sickness World Congress 2022 have said there is a need for Catholic journalists across the globe to safeguard the rights of civilians caught up in violent conflict in their professional practice. In a statement issued at the end of their congress that was held at Sogang University in Seoul, South Korea, the delegates of the World Catholic Association for Communication Sickness event took note of challenges occasioned by digital media and said that there is a need to move from individual engagement to community building. They have further underscored the need for Catholic journalists to cultivate the journalistic values of advocating for justice, holding authorities to account, and establishing common ground through well-researched context and nuanced explanation. The Pontifical Mission Society's PMS in Malawi says it is impressed with how leaders are preparing for the Mission Month, which will be commemorated at the national level at St. Montfort Chinguo Parish in Mangochi Diocese. During a follow-up meeting on the preparations for this year's Mission Month of October, which were launched in June this year, Noro Chimbenje from the PMS National Office said the reports that were given during the meeting demonstrated how serious the diocese is to host the Mission Sunday. We have a report read by Bridget Mwanoka.
This year's Mission Sunday on 23rd October will be commemorated at St. Montfort Junguo Parish at Mtaja in Mangochi Diocese under the theme, "You Shall Be My Witnesses." According to Noah Jimbenje from the National PMS Office, the preparations so far have reached at around 70%, and that they are hopeful that from now up to October, the remaining 30% will be met. He added that the involvement of all groups of people is contributing a lot to the smooth running of these preparations, which give hope that the celebration will be exciting.
Chachikulu chimene chikuchitika makamaka pamene tinayambira mu June ku ulendo umene wapita ku October tinalimbikitsa zinthu zingapo zimene anazichita. Chinthu chachikulu
when we launched these preparations in June, we encouraged them to advance a prayerful spirit at all levels. Praying for the missionary work, we also encouraged them to be teaching one another from families, out sessions or parishes on issues of Mission Month.
Chachiwiri tinalimbikitsa kuti adziphunzitsana azikhala ndithu maphunzitso oyambira m'banjamo mulimana out session sub session kuphunzitsana za chibalalitso cha mpingo kuphunzitsana mawu a Mulungu.
On his part, Father Medrick Mlava, who is the pastoral coordinator of Mangochi Diocese, said in the first place they are happy that the celebration will take place in the diocese and thanked the Catholic Secretariat for the consideration. He further said propagation of the faith as the Mission Month advocates needs a lot of contribution, such as prayers and finances, and that the diocese is also doing well in the financial contributions.
The journey will not only end after the main function in October. That is why even the priests are trying their best to teach Christians how best to prepare for the month. But also now they should conduct themselves after the celebration.
Mangochi Diocese Laity Council Vice Chairperson Daniel Banali said they are encouraging one another to pray novenas, Holy Rosary, and other daily prayers to see a successful missionary work. The celebration this year comes together with other notable anniversaries in the Church's missionary spirit. Through his special message about World Mission Sunday, Pope Francis, with focus on this year's theme, "You Shall Be My Witness," recalled on the bond between every missionary and Christ himself, the first to be sent, as a missionary of the Father, his faithful witness.
That was Bridget Mwanoka. Government, through the Minister of Homeland Security, has warned that police will deal with individuals who want to take the law into their hands to force refugees residing in towns and other areas to return to Zalega refugee camp as ordered by the court. Making the remarks earlier today as she addressed members of the media on the status of security in Malawi, Minister responsible, Jean Sendeza, emphasized that only police and the Immigration Department are mandated to enforce the requirement from the 30th November this year in a phased manner. Tandwe Mzmara has the details.
As government has set the 1st of February 2023 as deadline for the refugees and asylum seekers to return to the camp, Minister of Homeland Security Jean Sendeza has expressed her expectations that the process will be smooth and that order will be observed. Admitting that Zalega refugee camp is overstretched and cannot accommodate all the refugees and asylum seekers if they are to return to the camp, Sendeza disclosed that others would be relocated to Luwani camp in Mwanza. She also disclosed that by October this year, a census will be done to establish the number of refugees and asylum seekers, as the population can be higher than the current 50,000. Meanwhile, the minister has warned citizens against forcing the refugees to relocate, emphasizing that only law enforcers are mandated to do the job. Some of the issues addressed earlier today included public demonstrations, community policing, road safety and Kabanza operations, as well as the situation of passports production. Sendeza disclosed that they are still using Technobrain despite their contract being terminated with government, and until now, passport fees will remain the same despite promises that were made during campaign to reduce their fees. However, government will reduce passport fees after getting another service provider with reduced prices. On transport operations, Sendeza said from January to June this year, There have been 2,728 fatal and serious accidents involving Kobaza operators, urging all Kobaza operators to observe law while on the road as the situation is looking scary. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Tandiwe Mzumara.
Remember that you are watching our 7:30 news bulletin and you are with me, Brennan Mwanza. Our headlines once again.
Pope Francis instructs Vatican entities to move all funds to Vatican Bank by September 30th. Government warns citizens against taking law into their hands over the location of refugees. JICA funded project making positive strides in reducing non-revenue water. And in sports news, Malawi launches the 100 days countdown of hosting Region 5 Youth Games.
Moving on, the project for strengthening the capacity of non-revenue water reduction for Lilongwe Water Board, nicknamed LISCAP, is making positive strides by capacitating Lilongwe Water Board in reducing water losses, officials have revealed. Lilongwe Water Board Chief Executive Officer Siri Mbewe disclosed on Wednesday during the project's 7th Joint Coordination Committee meeting held in Lilongwe that the project has registered positive results in the pilot area. LISCAP, which is funded by Japan International Cooperation Agency JICA, is being implemented as a pilot project in the southern zone of Lilongwe Water Board's supply area. We have a report by Hilbert Kadanda.
Mbewe reviewed that so far the board has managed to reduce non-revenue water within the pilot area by almost half through the project, adding that the project is facilitating the transfer of technical knowledge from JICA experts to Lilongwe Water Board teams. He then held the impact of JICA's support, both financial and technical, in the implementation of the project. Mbewe, therefore, said proper coordination among Lilongwe Water Board officials and communities is the key to reducing non-revenue water.
For us, the main strategy has been that capacitation and indeed capacity building in terms of both the knowledge, but again even the equipment and technical assistance that we have been having from our counterparts.
Through the project, JICA has been providing equipment, materials, and technical expertise to help resolve Lilongwe Water Board's non-revenue water problem, which is the biggest challenge the board has been experiencing over the years. JICA Malawi Chief Representative Konzilo Tambara said his organization is committed to assisting Malawi in various development activities.
That assigning that we are cooperating with Lilongwe Water Board, sending some team of Japanese experts who have vast skill and experience in dealing with non-revenue water.
Ministry of Water and Sanitation Principal Secretary Joseph Ngwira said the project will be implemented to 2024. He said it is beneficial to socio-economic development of the nation.
We want to that I think the water that is produced, it has to be used to the maximum without losing the resources.
Lilongwe Water Board's annual non-revenue water is estimated at 3% as of 24th August 2021.
Through the second African Conference on Dirt and Development 2022 being held at BICC in Lilongwe, it has been learned that African countries continue to bear the burden of debt as their economies are weak and vulnerable to internal and external shocks. The sentiments were made today by the former Secretary to the Treasury of the Malawi government, Dr. Ronald Mangani, as he delivered the keynote address. Dr. Mangani then said the weakened capacity of the African continent to recover from these shocks deepen its present economic challenges. Anafe Piri has won this report. that report later. In sports news, Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Isaac Katopola, has said government is doing all it can to make sure that the hosting of Region 5 Youth Games is successful. Katopola was speaking during the official launch of 100 days counting down of the event at Bingu National Stadium in Lilongwe. He said the launch means renewing government's efforts towards the games as it is ensuring that it left no stone unturned. In other news, the Ethiopian government has blamed Tigrayan forces for starting fresh fighting along the region's borders. The government's communications office says they have breached a humanitarian truce that has been in place since March. The settlement comes after the Tigrayans accused the government of launching attacks on their southern positions from neighboring Amara today. The trading of accusations makes it clear that after months of allow, the two sides are now engaged in active fighting. Addis Ababa's statement added that the army and security forces were responding to the attacks successfully. The latest developments are feared to worsen a humanitarian crisis that has blighted the Horn of African country since the start of the war in late 2020. Well, on that note, we have come to the end of our 7:30 news bulletin here on Luntha Television. But before we go, a recap of our main stories.
Pope Francis instructs Vatican entities to move all funds to Vatican Bank by September 30th. Government warns citizens against taking law into their hands over the location of refugees. JICA funded project making positive strides in reducing non-revenue water. And in sports news, Malawi launches the 100 days countdown of hosting Region 5 Youth Games.
You have been with me, Brennan Manza. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.